Federal Executive Council to request additional funding for incremental fuel subsidy requirement. NNPC assures of availability of petrol across the country and cautions against panic buying. Senate approves 215.8 billion naira budget for FIRS in 2022. And on the U.S. economy, Federal Reserve plans to raise rates in March to cool inflation. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Benny Adams, your guide. A very good morning to you and welcome to Business. We start by telling you that the Federal Executive Council has resolved to forward a special request to the National Assembly for additional funding provisions towards meeting the requirement for incremental fuel subsidy in the 2022 Appropriations Act. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, announced this while briefing journalists after the Council's meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari.
Even taking into account the current realities, increased hardship in the population, heightened inflation, and also that the measures that needed to be taken to enable a smoother exit of the fuel subsidy are not yet in place, it was agreed by Council that it is desirable to exit fuel subsidy. NNPC has presented to the Ministry a request for 3 trillion naira as fuel subsidy for 2022. And what this means is that we have to make an incremental provision of 2.557 trillion naira to be able to meet the subsidy requirement, which is averaging about 270 billion naira per month.
The federal government has approved the immediate deployment of new revenue assurance solution by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. This is aimed at plugging leakages in the nation's telecommunications industry for enhanced revenue generation in the country. The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, made this known at a media briefing after the meeting of the Federal Executive Council.
The wisdom behind deploying this technology is just an attempt to enhance revenue generation that will go into education, health, infrastructure, and many more. And at the same time, to promote the cyber security of our country by making sure that our cyberspace, particularly as it relates to the telecommunications sector.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Company has assured the public that the company has sufficient fuel to meet the needs of Nigerians. A statement by the Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs of the company, Garbuddin Mohammed, advises the public not to engage in any panic buying of petrol, as well as ignore all rumors that may suggest otherwise. The company also expresses its commitment to ensuring energy security in the country in accordance with the law. And on the currency market, Bitcoin fell below $36,000 following a brief rally to nearly $39,000, following the Federal Reserve's announcement on Wednesday regarding reducing balance sheet size. Data from the Binance showed that Bitcoin was changing hands at about $35,500. In the same period, Ethereum, the second most valuable cryptocurrency by market capitalization, traded over 2.3 and was slightly up. No doubt, Nigerians are full of entrepreneurial spirit and are doing us proud within and outside the country, from arts to entertainment, medicine, technology, and in fact, all spheres of life. One of such Nigerians is Rita Ezenwa Okoro, the founder and lead visionary of Street Project Foundation, a not-for-profit organization that uses creative and performing arts tools to facilitate opportunities for youth employment, social mobilization, and cross-cultural dialogue in Nigeria. The foundation most recently received the United Nations, UNAOC, and BMW Group's Intercultural Innovation Award at the Dubai Expo holding in the UAE. It's a pleasure having you on the program, Ezenwa.
It's a pleasure being here, Benny.
Wow, tell us how you got here. Tell us the journey from the streets to the United Nations and at the expo where the cameras, the lenses, the eyes, everything is on Dubai, and you were there making us proud. Tell us how it happened.
Thank you so much. If I was to start the journey from the very beginning, we would not leave the station today.
Summarily, we can have a glimpse. Yeah.
In summary, we secured funding from Voice in Nigeria, which is implemented by Oxfam here in Nigeria, to run a program called the Creative Youth Boot Camp, Arts for Social Transformation. And what we do is that we use music, dance, drama, visual arts, and all of the various art forms to facilitate their skill sets, the development of their human skills, of their life skills. So when you teach improvisation, you're actually teaching critical thinking. When you're teaching drama, theater, you're teaching presentation and communication skills.
Wow.
And then one of the innovative thing about the program is the use of what we call reflection sessions, where our young people form a circle of trust where they can talk about the issues that they care about, the issues that bother them. And we know that in the country, there's so many things our young people are angry about. And being in that circle, they're able to come up with immersive stories that they're able to tell through stage plays, through short films, through music, through dance. And we shared our experiences and this innovation with the UNAOC and the BMW Group's Intercultural Innovation Award about our innovation to be able to reduce, the insecurity, violent extremism, and all of the things that young people may engage in if they're not gainfully engaged in conversations. And being a country where you have over 250 ethnic groups and 500 languages, it's important that we're able to build that circle of trust where young people can have those conversations. And they saw it worthy for us to represent Nigeria and bag that award. And we're so excited being a creative organization being validated for our innovation in Nigeria.
Well, I've had a stint with theater back in the days. Can you describe this form of theater? Is it a community-based kind of theater, something on the street? And can you also tell me the business angle of this? You create content. Is it just for social change? Is it also for commercial purposes?
Like you mentioned, our organization has been set up using creative arts as a tool to facilitate youth employment, amongst other things.
Yeah, okay.
So really, it's a tool for capacity building. And you can't talk about business without talking about competence. You can't talk about business without talking about skill sets. You can't talk about business without talking about life skills. And so when we create theater, we usually embark on total theater performances. And it could be theater on the streets, and it could be theater on stage. What's important is that we're building capacity at the end of the day.
Okay, talking about capacity building, the art forms you're using, talking about the music, entertainment, the drama aspects, these are aspects of life that attract the youth. Can you tell us numbers? For how long have you been doing this? How many people have been engaged in it, and what's the expansion plan like?
Okay, awesome. So we started this in 2008, but registered formally as a not-for-profit in 2014. And in this span, in this number of years, we have impacted the lives of over 2,000 young people. Now, when we started our capacity building programs, which are from the Creative Youth Bootcamp to Arts Vocacy to Street University, we use a model called the Youth Engagement Cycle, where we train, we then place on internships, and then have mentoring programs and give them platforms to showcase. What has happened is that for internships, we've been able to place over 500 young people, and having 50% of them being retained in the organizations where, you know, we place them. And then we also have them start up their own businesses.
Wow.
We even run a program called the Digital Amazons, which is currently running in Lagos State as we speak. We're doing that in collaboration with LSCTF and USADF, where we're training young women to be photographers, video editors, digital marketers, graphics designers, all of the, you know, skills that are mostly done by men. And we're sharpening and honing their skills so that they begin to get lucrative income. And doing that...
Talking about getting lucrative income, with this capacity being built, with these skills being impacted on them in areas that are actually marketable, talking about photography, editing, and all of that, is there a follow-up mechanism to ensure that they're actually doing this well, and are there markets for them out there? Do you go further to get to say, okay, let's link you up to some viable markets?
Absolutely. So we, for every young person who completes a program, usually our programs run from 3 to 6 weeks, they are called street project ambassadors. What does that mean? They become a part of an alumni community, which is engaged all the time. And on that platform, it's a virtual platform where opportunities for job opportunities, opportunities for exposure, for mentorships, for fellowships, for scholarships are secured. And so as we speak, if you asked me about one person, I can tell you where they are and what they're doing, because we are hands-on and we follow up on what they are doing. So that community is a thriving community, such that we now have young people who are in the United Nations, young people who are online sensations, who are making it in Nollywood, and as well as making it in the oil and gas industry.
That is awesome.
Yes.
You've mentioned some collaborations to include the United Nations. You have some other US organizations. How about local collaborators? Are you, in your expansion plan, are you also bringing government in? We have agencies of government that do what you are doing, but the way you're doing it, you're actually on the street. Don't you think there should be collaboration so that it can expand? It's not just about Lagos and Abuja and some parts of the world, but can we have it cascade down to the grassroots?
That's the essence. So currently we're partnering for one of our programs called Arts Vocacy, where young people are using art to talk about the issues that the social injustices in the country. We're partnering with the National Orientation Agency. We just activated 25 young arts vocates in December, and they're actually having their first community meeting on the 28th of this month and showcasing their very first short film. And by next month, we are heading to Enugu to replicate this, and then hopefully in Lagos and across the country. So the whole idea, we're looking for partners who would enable us, and government partnership, especially with the Ministry of Youth and Sports, because we have a model that we can replicate across board. One of the challenges that I find when it comes to youth development and capacity building for employment is the availability of youth centers, resource centers across the country. And I'm not talking about just in a city, but in communities where we can actually go to the nooks and crannies to replicate all of our models, such that our youth are gainfully employed, and youth have somewhere to go where they can co-create together and create the Nigeria they want to see.
This is an awesome model that has got some touch of extra innovation that is not used to being around. Can you tell us more about these innovations and how far you're ready to take this project?
We're far to take it continentally, but we want to win first nationally, and that is why we need government support. That is why we need policies to drive it. I am so passionate about the fact that creative arts and the performing arts, play and performance, can be used as a formidable force for change. And unfortunately, even across the world over, the creative arts is not seen as essential work, and that's because it's intangible. Its effect on human lives is intangible. And when people can't see stuff, sometimes they do not know its importance. And that is why we're using creative arts for development. And we want the government and the world to see that it is possible. It's not art for art's sake, but it's art for social change. And if we can get this model, our youth engagement cycle, across board implemented, working with NGOs, not-for-profit, who are as passionate about youth development as Street Project Foundation is, and working with government and policymakers who have the heart for youth development to replicate this model across board, making sure that we have viable youth centers that are not turned to places of worship or that are redundant. We want places that can be effectively used for youth development and mental health wellness.
Thank you so very much, Rita Ezenwa Okoro, founder, lead visionary, Street Project Foundation. You're doing an awesome job out there.
Thank you, Benny.
Keep it up.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Good to have you here.
Right.
We'd love to have you again.
Awesome. I'd love to be here.
Well, moving on. Next is our Surviving COVID-19 segment where Muplang Dakok spoke to Mayowa Bablola, who is in the business of making tea from cocoa and other natural ingredients.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Business has not been easy. That is the sincere truth. You know, before COVID, it is much more easier. But now we are struggling. Okay. But thank God, despite, you know, what we do is that we make use of the opportunity. Despite COVID, we see opportunities and we make good use of it. Most especially with our product, you know, we have a product that is serve as immune booster. Okay. That is our cocoa. Okay. Yes, it has been existing before COVID. We make use of it. You know, many people, they are looking for booster. Yes, for them it's booster, what will boost the immune system in order to fight the pandemic. The challenges is money, finance, yes. Then apart from the finance, you know, double taxation. Government is supposed to make availability of things that we need, enable environment for SMSE to shine on. Yes, it's that enabling environment that is very, very key. And government know what to do. Believe, you know, there will be development. You know, then if they are able to access loan, it will increase the machine, the equipment, and that will increase employment.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
And still on surviving during COVID-19, like every other commodity, the price of chicken feed has continued to rise, a development some poultry farmers describe as a setback to their business. Utibe Achibong interacted with chicken feed dealers and poultry farmers in Uyo and filed in this report.
Is less because of increase in price. So that is what we are experiencing now.
Things are very costly. Now, I bought it 2,000. Even to get 2,001 is very hard.
We normally buy like this one,
1213, but now they're selling it 2180. So I'm saying 2200.
According to these sellers, few years ago, a bag of chicken feed could go for as low as 3,000 naira and 3,800 naira as against what it is now. They attribute the hike to non-availability of raw materials.
Last 2 years, chicken feed was 3,600, 35, 36. But now, chicken fees has rise to 8,000. Some sell 8,500.
The price of feed has really gone up because the company, they lack materials to produce the feed. They are complaining of raw materials. Even when the money is not there, they can't find it to buy.
Of course, as expected, the hike in the prices of chicken is not unconnected to the high cost of its feeds. Nigerians are therefore appealing to relevant authorities to find lasting solutions to this problem. In Uyo, Utbe Achibon.
Palm oil futures extended gains to a third session on Thursday, with Malaysian palm oil recording the highest, while the black liquid is down in the Asian session today. Let's see prices of other commodities in the market. And to the markets back home, in a remarkable run, stocks on the Nigerian exchange sprang a reaction to fresh investor confidence as two Nigerian businessmen, Aliko Dangote and Abdul Samad Rabiu, appear formidable in Africa on Forbes list released this week. The all-share index went all the way up to 46,529.99 points on Wednesday as investors traded almost 329 million shares in 4,219 deals, valued at 4.817 billion naira. Equity capitalization ended the session at 25,073 trillion naira. Multiverse Mutual Benefits and Guarantee Trust Holding Company topped the activity chart. And across the globe, U.S. yields rise. Asian and European shares tumble as Powell warns on inflation. Neka Oko has a summary.
Markets are reacting badly to the U.S. Federal Reserve's indication on Wednesday that it could soon raise interest rates for the first time in more than 3 years. Consequently, U.S. stock futures fell in early trade after the Dow Jones Industrial Average and S&P 500 turned lower overnight. Futures tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average declined 311 points, retracing some of the earlier declines of nearly 500 points. Markets in Asia Pacific also fell across board on Thursday as investors digest an overnight update from the U.S. Federal Reserve. Japan's Nikkei 225 fell 3.11%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index dropped 2.59%, while the Shanghai Composite in China also declined, slipping 1.78%. European stocks are expected to also plunge at the open on Thursday. The UK's FTSE index is already seen opening 147 points lower. Stocks in Africa have remained resilient, trading mostly positive on increasing investor sentiment. The markets are expected to remain so when the figures begin to come in this morning.
This is where we end this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on NTA's channel. Business Express returns on Friday by 3 p.m.